Hello, this is the TradeSide Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, April 28th, 2019, ending Friday, May 3rd already. We will be a third of the way through the year by the middle of this week. Amazing. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. Finally broke out of the range it's been in for a while. We'll see if this continues to lead to a move or if it's just, we've had the last breakout back in November, only lasted a day or two and then pulled back in. So we'll see. Obviously, seeing the dollar for almost a full year in about a 4 point range is not great. I mean, if you scroll back and you look at prior times, look, here's just the prior year. You've got at least a 10, 8, 9, 10 point range. So it's just really been awfully light and in Forex here for a while now. Let's go to the daily charts of the major pairs. Euro dollar, just the inverse of the dollar index. Pound dollar. Dipped a bit, trying to get back to that red static trend line. The Aussie dollar tried to test the lows, not including that spike day back in January, and didn't do anything. The euro yen, still, this one's been really narrow for since the start of the year, basically, and the pound yen, pretty much the same thing. So it wasn't that interesting, even though the dollar broke out. Let's look at the 30-minute chart so you can see the whole week. Flat on Monday, dipped on Tuesday. Remember, Monday was still a holiday for most of the world from Easter. Wednesday was the bigger range day of the week, and then Thursday and Friday were flat. When you look at the pound, high to low for the week's only about 160 pips. And again, Tuesday and Wednesday, the bigger moves. And by the way, the euro for the whole week trades 140 pips. So again, usually the euro trades 130 pips per day. I mean, that's the average over the last several years. So to see it trade that for a week is not exactly simulating from a trading perspective. Let's go through the calendar for the week ahead. So Japan starts the week on a holiday. Europe's M3 money supply and private loans, core PCE price index here in the U.S., along with personal income and spending, UK's consumer confidence, China's manufacturing PMI, New Zealand's business confidence number, private sector credit out of Australia, French flash GDP out of Europe, German import prices, French consumer spending, French government budget balance, preliminary CPI, Spanish flash GDP and flash CPI, German preliminary CPI. We've got German unemployment change, Italian unemployment rate, preliminary GDP out of Europe. That's at 5 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. Italian preliminary CPI, the unemployment rate out of Europe, same time. Italian 10-year bond auction. Canada's got their GDP, their RMPI, and their IPPI at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. We've got the Employment Cost Index here in the U.S., our Housing Price Index at 9, Chicago PMI at 9:45, Consumer Confidence at 10, along with pending home sales. Australia's got their AIG Manufacturing Index Tuesday night, and then New Zealand's got their Unemployment Rate and Labor Cost Index. Bank holiday out of China, final manufacturing PMI out of Japan, Swiss bank holiday. Nationwide housing price index out of the UK, France, Germany, and Italy go on bank holiday going into Thursday. No, going into Wednesday. Sorry. Commodity prices here in Australia, manufacturing PMI out of the UK, along with their money supply and mortgage approvals. US ADP non-farm payroll or non-farm employment change. Manufacturing PMI out of Canada, and then ours as well. Construction spending here, crude oil inventories, that's the weekly number. Total vehicle sales here in the U.S. There's a Fed announcement. Now it's a Fed week. So 2-day meeting Tuesday, Wednesday. The announcement to the press conference at 2:30 on Wednesday. So we'll be half size Tuesday night going into Wednesday for the Fed. Building consents out of New Zealand. HIA new home sales out of Australia. Caxton manufacturing PMI out of China. German retail sales going into Thursday. Swiss retail sales, Spanish manufacturing PMI, along with the same out of Switzerland, Italy, France, Germany, the broad European sector, and then the UK. Then we got the Bank of England's rate announcement. So we got the Fed and then the Bank of England the next day. Challenger job cuts here in the U.S. Non-farm productivity, along with our weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers. Factory orders here in the U.S. Natty gas storage in the U.S. Australia's AIG Services Index. Japan goes on bank holiday. We've got Australia's building approvals, 10-year bond auction out of Japan, Seco Consumer Climate out of Switzerland, along with their CPI. Going into Friday, German services PMI, Europe's CPI, and PPI together at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, another number here. Our trade balance and our unemployment rate. So we've got the Fed on Wednesday, and then the two of our big three on Friday. So we'll be half size ahead of that as well. Final services PMI here in the U.S., and then ISM non-manufacturing PMI, and then a bunch of Fed speeches. So it's a packed-in week for data. There's a lot of it, and we shall see what we get. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken the trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading